All right, a very big welcome to you, my awesome viewers and listeners from all over the world. Thank you for joining me on another great episode of your favorite political talk show, The Truth, with Ben Jokes. Breaking news: NDLEA has announced plans to make drug tests compulsory for drivers seeking new licenses or renewing existing ones across Nigeria. Now, these people are just funny. They come up and say all these things as if they are clean. I'm telling you, the biggest user of hard drugs in this country are these politicians. This was how they came out a few weeks ago and said they should be nationwide certificate verification starting from October 6th. And before October 6th, one of the cabinet members, a minister, was seen to have forged his certificate. And if you check through that entire cabinet, I am telling you, over 85% of them are using forged results. Now they are talking about taking mandatory drug tests when over 80% of them are drug addicts. You see, these people are just funny, and this country will go nowhere with them at the helm of affairs. That is why I keep sounding it to Nigerians that if we don't get rid of these comedians, of these clowns, this country will never move forward. Now, let us look at the top stories. First is that one coming out of Southeast Nigeria. I must confess, this update coming out of the Southeast really made me sad and disappointed. And next is that big one coming out of the international community. A very huge number that has all but designated Tinubu as the worst leader in sub-Saharan Africa. Before I show you details of these top stories and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you this video. Now, it has become very clear that Peter Obi is the problem of the entire political class. He is their problem in Aso Rock. We are talking about Sunday Dare and Bayo Onanuga, who cannot grant an interview without talking about Peter Obi. Now, the SGF was just asked to speak on simple issues of the economy, and this man had to bring Peter Obi into the conversation. Watch this video.
Already said. It's like differences without division, rivalry in fellowship. We love this country, and we have to borrow from the example of Mr. President. He's a Muslim. He's at home with all of us, Christian, Muslims, traditionalists. Nigeria is a huge country on the move, and under his direction, we know that we are going to reach the promised land. I knew he inherited a very bad economy. We're out of it today. Our GDP is growing at 4.4%. It's a record, and what you have in our foreign reserve is also a record, from zero to $42 billion. What is people who are hanging around talking about coming to rescue Nigeria? Which Nigeria? If Peter Obi could not rescue Anambra, he's talking about rescuing 36 states and Abuja. All these other people, I don't want to mention their names. They came, they saw, they didn't conquer, even in their states. I think you are a journalist, and you also have to ask questions. I know what the federal government is doing, and you should also be interested in what is taking place in the sub-nationalities as well. All we want to say, and rightly and correctly too, is that we are on the right track.
You saw that. The pedigree of the man, Peter Obi, speaks for itself. Because we have come to a point in this country where people are asked questions, or people go to TV stations to speak, and they know that whatever they say is not going to trend except they bring in the name of Peter Obi. We thought it was with Sunday Dare and Bayo Onanuga spokespersons, but that was the secretary to the government of the federation, George Akume, speaking, and the only politician's name he could bring up was Peter Obi. He said Peter Obi could not rescue Anambra State. When they say this, I tell people, go and look at Anambra State's numbers before Peter Obi and what it was during Peter Obi, and immediately Peter Obi left it. and what it became after Peter Obi left. That is how you know the man's performance. And don't forget that the allocation that Peter Obi got when he was governor of Anambra State was far less. Somebody did, a cumulative of the monies he got, and it was ridiculous. Then if you look at what he achieved, you will marvel. And about the claims of SGF there, where he said GDP is growing at 4.4%, that is not true. Please, don't let anybody deceive you. The ex-president of African Development Bank, Akinwumi Adesina, came out and told us that Nigeria's GDP is at its lowest since 1960. And that is the truth. The GDP is not growing because the petrol usage in Nigeria has greatly dropped, and petrol is what drives the economy. So if productivity has dropped, how can the GDP grow? What is GDP? The gross domestic product. How can it grow when productivity has dropped? It does not add up. It doesn't make sense at all. These people are just lying to Nigerians. And this is what they have come to do. Propaganda from one point to another. Every aspect of the country is propaganda. Ask them about insecurity. They'll come out and tell you that they have defeated insurgency. They have subdued them. But we are seeing states like Kwara State that were relatively peaceful states before now being taken over by Lakurawas. So they will lie to you about every segment of the economy and begin to call out Peter Obi that he will not be able to do it. Mr. Man, why can't you face your own administration? Must you always bring Peter Obi into the picture? So please, if you think that Peter Obi cannot rescue Nigeria because he didn't rescue Anambra, conduct a free and fair election. You say Tinubu has done well, right? Okay, I agree with you. Since he has done so well, you shouldn't be afraid of a free and fair election again now. Please conduct free and fair election today and let us see if by 12 o'clock, Tinubu will not be kicked out of office. They can say whatever they want. It behoves Nigerians who bear the brunt of their misrule to say enough is enough and get ready to kick them out of power. Now, let us look at the top stories. First is that one coming out of Southeast that really got me disappointed and sad. And next is that big report carrying extraordinarily big number that cements Tinubu as the worst leader in sub-Saharan Africa. Let's start by taking that update from Southeast Nigeria. Look at how the papers reported it. I am most important politician in Southeast, not Obi. Orji Kalu. Former Abia State Governor Orji Kalu says he remains the most important politician from the Southeast region, not the Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 election, Peter Obi. Speaking as a guest on Channels Television's Politics Today, Kalu downplayed Obi's political relevance in the region. He insisted that his political achievements surpassed Obi's. He is not my leader. I am the most important politician from that zone, Kalu boasted. I have won 2 states before under PPA. I ran for president before. My 4.9 million votes in 2007 are still there. We achieved a lot with PPA. We had ministers, ambassadors, and other appointments under President Yar'Adua. Responding to a question on his future political ambitions, Kalu said age would not deter him from running for president if given the opportunity, citing former US President Donald Trump as an example. If I'm healthy and God gives me life, I can still contest. The question is not age, it is competency. And Oja here says, you don't have to blow your own trumpet. If you really matter, let's try something. You and Obi should take a walk down a road in Aba, not Onitsha. One on the left side and the other on the right. That way, we will know who is more important. Now, there is no question who is a more important politician in the Southeast. We cannot be comparing Peter Obi and Orji Kalu. It is a disrespect to the person of Peter Obi. As a matter of fact, you cannot even put any politician as more important than Peter Obi in Nigeria as we speak today. It speaks for itself. The video I just showed you, SGF was talking and Peter Obi was the only name he mentioned. Go to Channels TV interviews everywhere when they talk about opposition. The next thing you hear is Peter Obi. But the reason I am so disappointed is the fact that After a very long time, the biggest politician in Nigeria amazingly emerged from the southeast, because this is a region that many people will say it has been sidelined politically. But now the southeast has the biggest politician in Nigeria. And instead of rallying around him or just keeping quiet and watching him, some southeast elements have decided to turn it into a show or of who is bigger. Umahi is declaring for president. Orji Uzor Kalu is saying he too can run for president. Obviously, somebody is deceiving them that support me, give me the southeast votes. I will make you president when I leave office. There's somebody deceiving the two of them, and that is why they have declared an open war on Peter Obi instead of them to just keep quiet and do their thing quietly. It is such a shame that even southwest senators and southwest governors are not attacking Peter Obi as much as these southeast politicians are doing. It is so heartbreaking. The truth of the matter is that the likes of Orji Uzor Kalu and Dave Umahi have made themselves outcasts in that region by choosing to be the biggest enemies of Peter Obi and even Charles Soludo. But whatever they do, they cannot change the fact on ground. Peter Obi remains the biggest politician in Nigeria as we speak today, and nothing can change that. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to that update from the World Bank began making the rounds. The World Bank, in their latest report, released some numbers that shows clearly that Tinubu is the worst leader in sub-Saharan Africa in the last 2+ years. Look at how the papers reported it. Almost 100 million Nigerians face job challenges, highest in sub-Saharan Africa, World Bank report. A new report by the World Bank has revealed that about 98 million Nigerians are currently facing job-related challenges, the highest figure recorded in sub-Saharan Africa. The data contained in the October 2025 Africa's Pulse report by the World Bank placed Nigeria ahead of other countries in the region that are struggling with widespread unemployment and job insecurity. According to the report, Democratic Republic of Congo followed with 72 million people facing job challenges, while Ethiopia recorded 62 million, Tanzania 40 million, and Uganda 27 million. In sub-Saharan Africa, underemployment is extensive, reflecting the inability of economies in the region to create the number of steady wage jobs needed for the growing population. The report said inadequate wage job creation leads to poor quality jobs. Instead, high levels of involuntary self-employment and informality are the norm. Low levels of wage employment suggest a lack of organizational development, with restrictions on the formation and growth of firms limiting prospects for stable wage employment. The report also noted growing public frustration among young people over the government's inability to create sustainable employment opportunities. This development comes amid concerns about unemployment in the country and the rising cost of living among Nigerians. And Fresh Boy here says the figure is even more. How many are employed? Let's know that before knowing the people that are unemployed. Nigerians are coming out to say that the figure is even more than the 98 million that the World Bank quoted. And this tweet by Nigeria Uncensored says we've passed 100 million people facing it, because even 90% of those with jobs are dealing with job challenges. Everyone I graduated with who got a job has either resigned or complains whenever we talk. Wow. And Iyanu here says official BAT, continue rebasing data to fool yourself, thinking you are fooling us. As we speak, unemployment rate is at 55%. You think rebasing inflation rate and unemployment rate will disappear? That is not reality. And this tweet here says, must Nigeria rig everything? Say it the way it is. It is more than 200 million. Wow. Nigerians are saying even the 98 million quoted by the World Bank is not the actual figure. They said the situation on ground is worse than that. Now, let me show you something in these updates that you may not have taken notice of. They said Nigeria is the highest in Africa in terms of unemployment. And then they began calling the other countries, that follow Nigeria. And the country at number 2 was Congo with 72 million, Ethiopia with 62 million, Tanzania with 40 million. Then there is Uganda with 27 million. Meaning, after Uganda going down, the number of unemployed people in these other African countries will be having something like 10 million, 5 million, 2 million. We may even have 1 million in some other African countries, because number 4 on the list there had 27 million, while Nigeria, that is number 1, had 98 million. And we know is even more than that. What am I trying to bring out here? I'm trying to show us how far these other African countries have gone ahead of Nigeria. And you may argue that, it is because of our own population. That is why our own number is very high. Okay, let's not use direct population. Let us use percentage. If 100 million Nigerians are employed or are unemployed out of 200 million people, if you minus children, that cannot go in for employment, just remove children, remove those that are maybe special people, handicapped people, you remove them. Then the aged ones that cannot be open for employment from age 90 and above, like that, or 80 or 75 and above, minus those ones. Then what is the figure that is left? Out of that figure, 100 million are unemployed. You realize that we may come to a point where like more than 70% of Nigerians are unemployed. So even if we use percentage, it becomes worse. This is the situation we have found ourselves in this country. The APC has completely destroyed this country. African countries are going ahead. They are moving away from this nonsense that we are doing in Nigeria. And if we give the APC a chance to continue after 2027, I am telling you, Nigeria will be so disgraced in Africa that Nigeria will become the toilet of Africa. Already we are becoming that. We used to be the tallest in Africa, but we are becoming the toilet of Africa. This is a disaster. Every patriotic Nigerian listening to this, make up your mind today, whether you are from the north, south, east, or west, Christian or Muslim, to reject the APC in any shape or form. If you really have love for this country, that is the only way this country can be rescued. But until then, make I still enter town, make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una, na I dey here. So don't go away. Don't go away.